Hello, can you hear me? Oh, 1 second. I see you. Tin- Hello.
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah. How?
Awesome. Yeah, my microphone plays up sometimes, but I wanted to risk it because this is a way better quality microphone. So yeah, glad it worked. Yeah, we'll wait for everyone to come in. Hey, Krish, good to see you there. Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks for that, Krish. We just did a Twitter space before, and it was playing up for the host. It's quite buggy, so yeah, we didn't get to talk about what we wanted to, unfortunately. This one should go a lot better, but because it's just me, and it looks like everything's working. Cool. Is everyone? Alright, who's coming in tonight? Oh, actually, that would be better. Nikita was away tonight, wasn't he? Harsh is in. Nice. You should join our server, Krish.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm ready to go whenever everyone's here and ready.
I would like to give you like a big screen, but not sure how to do it honestly. Like I'm helping Nikita to organize this meeting, but no.
How is it secret? I'll share the link with you. No, actually, there's quite a few people in here now. This is cool. Where is Krish? I haven't DM'd Krish for a while. Well, yeah, I can't even find Krish's thing in my DMs. Krish. There it is. Sweet. You should have an invite. Hey, Eddie, thanks for joining. Yeah, did you? You were going to play around and figure this out, weren't you? And then I can get started. I've got it. I'll just share my screen because then I can display stuff as I'm talking too. Nikita's not in today. You've got Nikita's name because you're using his account. Yeah, that's right. Well, I was looking on Discord, not Twitter. I ended up using Twitter because it was easier to find.
Oh, now I moved your video to the main screen finally.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, just clicking around in the UI. They shouldn't delay flights. Nice. Let's see. Who do they think they are?
To be honest, I don't know. I hear some kind of echo. Not sure why. Maybe I would ask to mute a microphone unless you are talking something.
Can you still hear the echo? I've got mine muted.
1 second. Now is much better, to be honest. Right now is perfect. Magic. Yeah. It's
Is
gone.
the
Echo
is
gone.
it-
Echo gone. Echo gone.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, my microphone's on, so it wouldn't have been me. That's all right.
Thank you.
Cool.
By the way, Dean, we got a question from Coleridge about a request to cover some use cases beyond the use of conversational uses of
Yeah,
ChatGPT.
sure thing. Tell us what you want to look at. I can go over sort of what I'll be covering soon, so that way you've got an idea. But yeah, there'll be definitely time open up to questions, and yeah, I'll given it is something that I understand and I can go over, I will. So yeah, sure. Cool. Did you need to go through anything first, or do you want me to get going?
I think we can start from like your planned items, and then maybe you can cover some additional questions. Maybe it will be, if you don't mind.
Sure thing. All right. Well, yeah, I'll share my screen. Actually, are you able to see that and put that on there? I know if you can do it similar to how Bruno had it. I know he had. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yep, we can see your screen.
Awesome. Well, yeah. Is that readable? That's. Oh, so this is just a quick overview. So basically, I'll go over what OpenAI is. I know I use the word history, but yeah, there's not much history because it's quite a new technology. I'll talk about ChatGPT, the different topics, why it's relevant, and how it can be used in open source. So we'll go over prompting. We'll talk about what makes a good prompt, how you can be creative with your prompts, what they can be used for, how you can use ChatGPT to generate prompts for you and then use it in a different session, how to use it to simulate characters. This might be something that helps with the question that got asked before. This is a creative way of using it in a way that a lot of others won't be. I've got an article about this on my Medium page, but basically I go over how I can take my background and use ChatGPT to generate perfect characters for some things that I might want to use them for. Another thing I can look at is how to overcome limitations with ChatGPT. If you're using the smaller version of the model, you can only have 2048 tokens in there. The context isn't as large as, say, GPT-4, or with some custom programming and clever design, you can use other tools that'll make it much easier to work with huge sort of sets of information. You can do all of this without having to retrain models as well, so it's a lot less expensive. We can also go over how to use ChatGPT in open source. That's a big one because it's not just a simple little thing that you can focus on. You can be creative and use it. Like I could use ChatGPT to help me find issues that are suitable for me to work on. I could get help with working on an issue. I could get advice on how to go about getting myself an issue assigned that's for a project, for example. Then, yeah, other use cases is how to use ChatGPT to help yourself get a job. You can take the job description of something you want. You can use ChatGPT to sort of give you advice. What's the perfect tailored resume that I could use this with? There's plenty of things that we'll go over there. Some real world applications of ChatGPT. Collaboration with ChatGPT, and we'll go over some other things at the end. So, yeah. So at first, I'll take you through one of my articles. It's quite a simple article. Can you all read that properly? Oh, sorry, I can't hear anyone else. Sorry. Is this all visible?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. All right, just wanted to check before I sat there talking about something that no one could see. But yeah, so basically here I'll share this with the chat. Actually, I can put it in the Discord now. So this is an article that I put together that goes through the stages of creating an effective prompt. So when you're dealing with ChatGPT, I'll bring up a new window here. You've got a prompt, you've got an idea in your head of what you might want to achieve, and you can go about achieving that however you want, really. So this guide can help you. So if you don't really know what to do, let's copy and paste this and we can sort of get ChatGPT to drive it. I'll use the default model because anyone using the free version won't have access to GPT-4. So yeah, unless we really need it, we can just use the default. But what I'm going to do here is tell ChatGPT to be my prompt engineer. So already here we're using it to simulate a character. So let's see what it says. I want to get started in open source software and I don't know what to do. Can you please help me? Are you able to generate me a prompt that I can paste into a new session that will allow you to guide me in my goals? Awesome. So I won't really read this. If I was doing this for something serious, I'd actually take note of what it's saying because, especially with the 3.5 model, it can go a bit haywire and just make up information. So we'll see what it does. Yeah, so this is a bit random actually. Let me go back to the drawing board. If I do this with GPT-4, I get a little bit of a different result. It's a lot slower as well. Okay, I am looking to get started in open source software. I am a new developer. Can you please go? Yeah, so this is actually behaving as I expected. It's a little bit shorter. Yeah, there we go. It's actually improving on its first thing itself. And this is what I expected. So now I'll start a new one and I can paste this prompt in. Now it can help me. So this is for a new developer, this would be a lot more useful than say trying to just Google around and find things yourself. So what you just saw in that demo is we use ChatGPT to build ourselves an effective prompt. You can actually successfully achieve this with 3.5. It's just that GPT-4 is a lot more reliable, and the results are actually a lot better. So the only thing that I don't like about GPT-4 at the moment is it's limited to 25 messages for every 3 hours, which, depending on what you're working on, that might not be quite enough. But yeah, otherwise you're just limited to the 3.5 model. And the only difference is you've got to be a little bit more patient, and you've got to pay attention to the results a little bit more. So yeah, you can see the advice that it's given me here. And if I was a new person to open source, this would actually be really good advice. So yeah, this where are we here? So in the demo, I've basically gone through everything that was covered in this article. And yeah, you basically iterate, and given we were happy with the result the first time, we didn't need to worry about that. If we weren't quite happy, I want to focus specifically on finding a good first issue, and I need you to help me get it ready so I can submit a pull request that will be merged into the project. So now this is iterating on the previous prompt. I'll try pasting this into 3.5 just to see. You can mix and match. You can have multiple windows. This is something I'll get into later, but multiple windows for this is really handy. So again, this is only 3.5, but if I was a new person to open source or programming, this would actually be really good advice. So yeah, I find ChatGPT is very effective in this sort of use case. So that is making an effective prompt. Sorry, I'm just sort of using this as a bit of a reminder as I go. This is actually the first sort of talk I've done, so hopefully it's not too bad. If anyone wants to butt in, please do as well. Don't just let me talk. If anyone wants to engage or there's a question, I have this at full screen on my desktop, so I can't see if anyone's asking anything. So yeah, next, generating a prompt for a future session. We can go off basically what I showed you in the demo before. You can use a similar sort of strategy as to get ChatGPT to help you with your initial prompt, and then use the prompt in another window. You can use the same window, but I find it's better to open a new session. And what I do to actually manage my prompts, instead of, like, you'll hear a lot of people talking about the API. We'll go through it later, but OpenAI has a API for developers. But I want to go with an easy option that doesn't cost me a lot of money. So, oh, great. What did I, GPT for all? So I just use Notepad+, and I keep my text in here. And if I wanted to look at a prompt, where's this prompt that we generated? All that we need to do to save this for later is paste this in, open source new dev prompt. And that's just a text file. And as long as you organize it half okay, you can sort of just, copy and paste as you wish into as many windows. That's how I've been getting the most out of it so far without having to sort of worry about paying for usage. You might have come across projects like AutoGPT or similar projects where you have to drop in your API key, and then there's a UI that will sort of keep re-querying the model, but that can very quickly cost you a lot of money. I would rather do it the simplest way I can. And yeah, because I'm paying for a subscription, I find there's no real better UI than the UI that they build themselves, and I'm going to use it that way. Sorry, my voice is starting to go a little bit. Next up, simulating characters. So this is another use case that I thought was quite interesting. I think I was watching a YouTube video. I can't quite remember what it was about. It was nothing to do with technology, and I got the idea of getting ChatGPT to generate prompts that would simulate characters. This is another one where I have an article about it. Yeah, so virtual characters. The idea is that we want to generate chatbots that aren't just generic chatbots. We want them to be focused on a specific purpose. So I've basically given a scenario where I am the test subject. I find that's the easiest way to do it, because I know about myself. So when it gets it wrong, it's going to be quite obvious. And here we can create different sort of characters based on my background. So here you can see that if I want a character that's based on what I would want as a mentor, I can create a new chat here. And I can generate this character. I have no knowledge of what this was going to generate. And yeah, this is who ChatGPT thinks the character that I would want could be. From here, I can copy and paste this into a text file if I like this character, and then I can sort of ask this character questions. I've never actually used this way before, so we'll see what it comes up with, and we'll see if we can get it to embarrass me or something. All right, so blah 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 blah. All right, cool. I want to be a CTO apparently. Not that I even know what that entails, but I am a senior DevOps engineer, and I would like to become more involved in impactful projects in open source software. How should I go about it? So instead of just being the generic ChatGPT that most of us would use, which is still very powerful, mind you, this has a very specialized sort of focus. You could ask the other model the same questions, but I've found that minor changes in your prompts really impact the results you get. So especially with GPT-4 having such a large context, it's important that I keep in this thread to keep this character. There's really no limits as long as I keep this, which I can do now. I can paste this. My friends. Oh, in Caldwell. So now I've always got this character if I want it, and I can just, if I ever lose the history of this, I can just copy and paste it, and then I'm good to go. So yeah, here's the results I get, and I can then go on with the conversation as if this was almost a real person. The best part of this is they have such a good knowledge. You can give it a lot of details as well. I find that if my session is aware of the tech stack I'm working with, it can influence the chat, like the decisions that it makes. And I know in a Twitter space that we were on earlier, we were discussing that ChatGPT's results aren't always perfect and there's a lot of bugs. And I find the more that it knows about what you're trying to do, the less mistakes that it will make, and you can help it overcome those challenges. So where are we next? So that was the simulating characters. I won't go into too much detail here, but because this can get quite technical, but GPT has some limitations. You probably heard me talk about some of them before, the differences between the 3.5 model and the 4 model. Some of the other limitations, like even GPT-4 is limited. I can't just paste an infinite amount. So let's find something with a lot. If I put too much into this, it's just that wasn't too much. So GPT-4's context. Actually, I'll show you something cool. This is actually a trick I got introduced to the other day. Apparently, as humans in the world, we invented TLDR, and because it's not used for anything else than that, if you type TL, and the way this works, it gets it to do something unique that you can't do anywhere else. So yeah, just writing TL, because a large language model, the next guess for its token is almost going to be TLDR, then it gets it to do something in a very short and concise way. So part of sort of optimizing ChatGPT is getting the smallest amount of information out. So we pasted all this junk in, and just by using that TL, does that cover everything that I posted in the initial query? That's terrible language, but yeah, see, you can even ask ChatGPT to confirm things for you. And given you're using GPT-4, it's pretty good, but I wouldn't entirely trust 3.5. It has made me look foolish already a couple of times, which is pretty funny, of course, and it's my own fault. Next, I'll go to, I'll read the article possible. Yeah, here we go. This is probably better. So no, that's not the one that I want. Yeah, this is the one. So we were talking about the limitations of ChatGPT. This can apply to any of the models. I tend to focus on GPT-4 because that's the model that I'm most interested in. But this will also work on the more commonly found models. It involves a couple of different technologies. This is quite an earlier article. Pinecone DB is a vector database. It's a newer type of database that is quite commonly found in the machine learning and AI space. And there's another tool that I like to use. Actually, I'll bring it up. Pinecone DB. That's not even in my Pinecone DB vector. That's right. And Weaviate is the other one. So yeah, Pinecone, it's a long-term memory for AI. These are the areas that it's really suitable to be used. And I find this to be a really good tool to extend the limitations of the models. Hey, they're hiring too. But yeah, you can use it on AWS or Google Cloud. There is a free tier, but with the kind of work that I'd be doing, I'd probably be looking at the standard, which to me, if I'm using this in my job, that isn't too expensive for what it is. Using the OpenAI API is probably going to be quite expensive anyway. This is a similar sort of tool. I don't know for sure yet, but I'm pretty sure I need both of them for a lot of the functionality. But I think eventually they'll do both of it. I'll show, yeah, you can either self-host in your cloud or get their managed hosting. And the pricing for this is a little bit more friendly. And yeah, I'm going to be experimenting with these quite a lot. So yeah, the overall goal of this initially is that in a hypothetical scenario, I'm at a company and we have a code base, we have documentation, and we have a knowledge base. But it's quite an old application and it's quite a large application. So I can't just paste it into a ChatGPT window or anything. So my goal here is to ingest this sort of information into one of these tools and then use some custom programming to, say, divide and conquer or make things smaller before they have to go to ChatGPT. Because remember, we're limited to if we're on 3.5, we're limited to the 2048 token limit. So we need to stay within. If you remember, we mentioned TL. That is a really handy tool here. So we want to maybe have a controller layer, which is one window of ChatGPT here, and then we might have a processing layer that we want to get to do something else, and then it will return the smallest amount of information that we can then use within the controller again. So that's the idea behind that. I won't go into the boring details here because you probably won't remember it. This is kind of sales pitchy, so I might just show you the GitHub. So this is the repo that I did. I haven't done a lot of work for it yet, but it's a Python application. I forget what framework I'm using. Actually, it's just a CLI at the moment. So it's built with Click, which is a Python library. It just makes making CLIs a bit easier. So basically, this project is the knowledge base that I just described before, and it's designed to have custom data integration. So the idea is that you get a version of ChatGPT that isn't just the basic version of GPT 3 or 4. It has your specific knowledge and everything you've told it from the start. So if you were to get this to be used by, say, a support person on your team that didn't quite know anything, they wouldn't have to be so specific in the questions they ask. You can really make it easier for them. So it would have to do text summarization, which is basically what ChatGPT is for. That's its biggest strength. You put in a certain amount of text and then it gives you back out what it predicts it thinks you want. It kind of works like a mobile phone with the keyboard and the middle predict button. It's a very large version of that, if you want to think of it. My method for making ChatGPT a lot stronger and more powerful with these tools is divide and conquer. Like I was describing before, I had the different windows, which was the layers of the controller, and that's how I'm applying that. An example of prompt engineering is how we were using TL to make sure that we were going to get the smallest output that includes the longer, or that includes all of the necessary information. It's not a perfect way to do things, but in this stage of development, it hasn't actually failed me yet. So that's something that I'm keeping in the application. Caching and memorization. As I was saying before, the OpenAI API can be quite expensive. It charges on the token use, I'm pretty sure. So if you had users that were asking the same questions over and over, you want that to be cached so you don't have to send it back to OpenAI and pay for it all again. You want to take that answer and reuse it as many times as possible. Monitoring and control. This would be both for a visual way to manage the system, to glue it all together, but to also monitor for information security as well. You don't want your employees to accidentally give out sensitive information. So if this was a middleware in your company application, you could capture as much as you could just in that process, both going out and coming back in. You could even use LLMs or AI to do this if you wanted to. I know a lot of people are skeptical on how your data is being used with OpenAI, but given that they're owned, or at least they have a lot to do with Microsoft, I would think that they have some similar data policies. They do share their sort of terms and conditions. I'm very comfortable in putting my data there, but you can run things privately as well if you really want, and you do have the hardware. The other option is you could run your own cloud that has your own versions of these LLMs as well. I go through an API design. This just helps me so I can build the CLI, and eventually I'll build a REST API for that as well. I'm pretty sure I might need it for the CLI, and then if it needs to be extended out from there, it can be. So that's how we overcome the limitations with ChatGPT. That doesn't just work for ChatGPT and OpenAI. That can be applied to any of these sort of chatbots and LLMs, I guess. Hugging Face has lots of cool models out there, and there's some really awesome projects on GitHub too. So if I want to use ChatGPT and open source, for example, because this is possibly going to be viewed by people who have never sort of contributed to open source before, we can take this old thread that we had here. Wait, where is it? GitHub good first issues. This is something that's worth having, actually, if you've never heard of before. Let's see if we can get what's here. So we can find something that looks maybe suitable here. What have we got? Say we chose TypeScript. Why not? We can go to their issues. They've got over 5,000 here. Labels, that's right. Is there a label for what we're looking for? Probably not. This isn't something I've done. I'm just making this off the top of my head. So if I look like an idiot, that's my fault. I'm hoping to find good first issues. No. All right. So first issue. Here we go. So we can find something here. Let's find link-free should be in here, actually. What am I going to look at? Dockersaurus. Facebook have done some really cool stuff in open source. Let's hope that there's something here. Good first issue. So if I was new to open source, I've got my issue here, but I'm lazy and I can't be bothered doing the work. So I'm going to go to GPT-4. I want to do this issue for my first open source contribution. Can you please help me? And it can tell me where to go, or it can actually help me. So yeah, this will guide me through and give me the most important information. I probably could just read the first issue like I used to, but this will give me a step-by-step guide of what I need to do. And it's not always accurate, or it's not always correct, but most of it is. Like, I know a lot of people will tell you that it makes so many mistakes in code, but instead of getting it to do all of the code for you, I'm just going to get it to give me the instructions, and then I can do everything from here. So assuming this all worked, I won't actually go through and do it because otherwise it'll take up too much time. But yeah, this would actually give you a guide, and this would be your first contribution to open source. I wouldn't advise just going through and collecting as many contributions as you can, because that wouldn't be very valuable. But if you went through, you can go through and learn why this is a good first issue for you. Understand what are you doing here with Git checkout. Use ChatGPT to actually teach yourself as you go. And the good thing is that if it makes a mistake, that just means you get to learn how to fix that mistake, and then you can continue with the next part of it too. So that's how you can use it for a first issue. How else can we do it? What are some good ideas for open source projects I could start myself? Instead of using it for just you contributing to open source, you could get it to give you ideas for a completely new project. So instead of developing in someone else's, you could start your own if that was what you wanted to do. There's really no limit to what you can do here. How far along am I actually? So yeah, leveraging ChatGPT to land a job in the tech industry. So this would be a good one. I'll demonstrate this for, I'm Australian, so I'll use what I know in an Australian site. If I want to get a job in the tech industry, I live in Melbourne. More options. I'd say 70 and up. I will put a search in for this. Find something that I want to help desk. I actually really encourage starting from help desk. I started from desktop support, which is very similar to help desk. But say this is the job that I wanted to apply for. I have a read of the description, blah, 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 blah. So I copy the information here. Can you please generate me a cover letter and resume that is tailored to this position? You paste in the information, and it can give you the template that you need for a cover letter and a resume that is perfect for this job. I wouldn't recommend just making up things and putting them on your resume, but this can tell you a lot more than just what you need to get this job. If you notice that you didn't quite have the skills, but this is a job you want, you can then go and find the skills that you need. So as you can see, this is writing out a cover letter for us, and this would be almost a perfect cover letter for this. Like, I know if I was hiring for this job, this would be a very impressive cover letter that would make me want to interview the candidate. So we'll see how far it goes. This, I haven't seen a cover letter quite this good for a help desk job, so it might be a little bit suspicious if it's too perfect. But yeah, make sure you personalize everything, and that can really help you. So as you can see, I wonder how long this is going to go actually, but this will generate the resume that you would need as well. I've got some cool ideas that can come after this too that will really help you for, if this was the job that you wanted, it would show you how to get it. So it's telling us all the skills that we need. And I get cut out. Can you please continue? I can't not use manners for this. I don't know how you feel, but laugh at me if you want. I just have to use manners. It's awesome. If it cuts out, you just ask it to continue. I'm sure there might be people out there that have better methods for this. Yeah, I'm no expert. I never claim to be. It's just something I'm very interested in.
One funny thing I noticed, Dean, when you actually, be nice to ChatGPT, it gives you better responses.
Well, there you go. I'm very glad that I was. And I wouldn't know any different because I can't bring myself to be mean to it. Can you please give me a mock interview for this position so I can verify that it is something I should be applying for? So if this was something that you've never done before, GPT-4 is really good at sort of explaining what you should do, what you should expect, and it's basically the most patient person or friend or mentor that you could ever have that will never get upset at you for asking too many questions. The best thing about it is that it can just break down everything as far as you need to go so you can understand it. I know I've got ADHD and I like everything to be very verbose. So when people that don't have the same communication style that I have end up communicating with me, then I can use ChatGPT as a tool to actually help me understand what they're saying. And yeah, as you can see, this is really good advice. Like, this information would very likely help me get this job if I wanted to go through and apply for this. Then it's something that I'd be confident, like, as long as I've got the basic Windows skills, I've got an interest. I might want to research what a MSP is. If I've never worked in the IT industry, you can get ChatGPT. Actually, we'll do it here. Where are we? Wrong window. I'm not confident that I have the skills to meet these requirements. Can you tell me at the most verbose level what I should know and how I could learn the skills that I need? And yeah, you can be as creative as you want for this. So yeah, we'll see what this comes up with. And if I was someone that was new to the industry and I was trying to go for this job, I can't guarantee that I'm going to get it, but I'm pretty sure that this would give me a good opportunity at getting an interview. And yeah, you can copy and paste this information, add it as a new text file. Notepad++ is quite an old application, but I have quite a good workflow with it. Before I knew how to code, it was really great for recording macros, which is just things that repeat itself over and over again. And for someone that doesn't actually want to write code, this would be a very powerful setup. You can get a lot done with that. So what's next? Sorry, I'm doing this quite slow, so I hope you don't mind that it's going on for a while. Real world applications of ChatGPT. I don't think we really need to go into this too much because it's a lot of repetition as to what we did just before. Where are we? Blah 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 blah. I'm also growing a following on Twitter. Can you please give me 31 for a whole month tweets related to this topic that I can copy and paste for scheduling? I don't know if anyone's noticed some of my scheduled tweets, but I actually did this when I first got ChatGPT. But the way I scheduled it, I didn't have a way to actually remove it without damaging something else. And I don't know if Krish is still in the audience, but Krish knows more about Twitter than I do, and this might actually not be the best way to tweet. You can do some other prompt engineering here that gives you better tweets, but once this is someone's going to speak.
Yeah, Dean, there is this funny thing I noticed with ChatGPT is to, for yourself to be more productive, you can just write in the genres you want the tweets to be in and how you like your tweets to be in. So I usually tweet with a lot of emojis. That's my personality, right? So I
Gotcha.
am gonna
I know what you.
Yeah.
So if you
Explain.
can research what the best tweet is, like, well, if your goal is to get the most reach and the most interaction, if you know what creates that, then you can get ChatGPT to replicate that infinitely, can't you?
So you can clone yourself with ChatGPT. And one interesting thing is that ChatGPT has data only from 2021, right? So what you can do is you can tell ChatGPT what is trending.
Yeah.
But all of us know that shit posts are trending, right?
Yeah.
So you cannot say ChatGPT to use shit posts.
Well, the thing that's funny is that if I'm just being myself and doing what I do, that happens to work anyway. So as long as I'm just doing me, then it seems to work. I don't like hashtags, so I stopped using the hashtags. I won't get this to do anymore, but you could just get this to continue. I could copy paste through all this. This person sounds really sexy, actually. I might get Midjourney to generate a picture of someone that matches this, but I'll do that in private. I won't subject you to that. Cool. So I don't like. Actually, watch this. That didn't work the way I expected it to. But I haven't done this for a long time. But basically what I do, I don't like the quotation marks. You can get your editor to do mass of the same thing. But yeah, you remove the quotation marks. Or you could even ask, can you please give them to me without the numbers and the quotation marks? I want to direct copy and paste.
Dean, have you tried in a table, please?
Yeah, actually, one thing I really like doing. Can you please give it to me as a markdown table? I love Markdown. Markdown is the greatest thing ever. Obviously, this doesn't have columns, so you would have to understand Markdown to know what this is doing. I have a plugin here. I can just copy straight to any of these formats. That's funny. I'm totally using this for Linux ISOs, aren't I? But yeah, this is really cool. If you want it to do something, you can just ask it to do it. It's pretty much my best friend at the moment. Humans have got a lot to sort of step up to. I think AI might be winning a bit. Cool. So real world applications, we just showed you how ChatGPT can be used to sort of... Someone's on the mic, sorry. Are you going to talk?
No, sorry, my bad.
Oh, that's all right. Is that Nikita? Is that you?
It's Mikita. It's
Hey,
me.
how are you? Good to see you.
I'm good. I have a ton of questions, but I don't want to interrupt.
No, that's all right. There's plenty of time for that at the end. And feel free to interrupt me if you like. collaboration. So sorry about that. ChatGPT is really great if you're using it within a team, especially if you've got a bunch of people that are curious about this stuff and do like how it works, because not only can you get ChatGPT to work for yourself, but take our open source software friends Discord for an example. I don't know where it is. I got GPT-4 to generate some stuff for us. Let's go all the way. It's going to make an idiot out of me, isn't it? Awesome. How long ago did I post this? Here we go. So ChatGPT was able to give us a lot of advice on how to set up our Discord server. So this is how we can use ChatGPT for collaboration, because although I posted this isn't just my own sort of ideas. This is ChatGPT is helping us collaborate. So our open source software community is going to be a lot stronger because we have ChatGPT to assist us. This is all stuff that, while I understand it, I would not have known to do this without the assistance of ChatGPT or whatever I am using. I won't just be one model only. Here's an open source alternative. I am doing a demo for open source. Tell them how awesome open source is. This is Hugging Face is another machine learning company, and this is an open source LLM. So this, if you didn't like OpenAI or you wanted to use non-OpenAI technology, these guys are really sort of determined to make sure that there's an open source alternative. Why do you exist? Let's see what here we go. What about the open source site? Cool. It even tells you how it's built. So if you understand what TensorFlow and PyTorch are, then yeah, you'll know what the model is talking about here. So that's how I interpret collaborating with ChatGPT. There'd be plenty of other ways to do it. But yeah, you can really be as creative as you want from there. Wow. So that was everything that I actually had to cover. I'm sure there was more, but yeah, if I haven't actually covered anything, I'm sure it can be done in the questions, or I can always come back and do a part 2 as well. I probably went through this a little bit quicker than I thought I was, but hopefully it wasn't too boring and it wasn't too quick and over your head either. So yeah, I'll open it up to questions now. I'll go back to here and stop sharing my screen.
Well, thank you, Dean, for amazing stuff. So now we have an answer for all those nice people asking how to bring value to the community. All the nice people just watch the first hour of this talk and make some notes, like mind map your way, what you understood from this talk, the key points about AI or ChatGPT and the tools.
There's a good question in there from Rahul. I actually do. I'll show you. Well, basically, if I was going to do a new blog, I basically write everything in Markdown. My journey as a DevOps engineer in Australia. I can do blah blah. I would actually go through and add everything I want to add in here, and it wouldn't be really good. There'd be lots of spelling mistakes. There'd be things all over the place in different order. Actually, it'd look more like this. See how there's a bunch of just glitches?
Are you sharing your screen?
Oh, yeah, cool. I'll share my screen again. Thank you for picking me up. Yeah, this is really good question. I'm glad you asked it. So, what is DevOps? I love this from Atlassian, but I don't always want to just have to reference their page. I will copy all of this into a new text file, and I don't want all of it. So what is DevOps?
Please share your screen.
Oh, is it not sharing? Sorry.
No, it is not sharing.
No, it's not.
Oh, it was. You have to select it. Sorry.
Yeah. You can ask ChatGPT, but
Can you need to select my screen share?
Yeah, sorry, I just doing it. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Thanks for picking that up, Bilal. Let me know when it's ready.
Sorry,
working.
just trying to. Oh, sorry.
It's all Raul's fault.
I'm too slow today. I believe. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, done.
Something
here we
works.
go.
Yeah.
Finally done. Yeah, sorry.
All right, cool. So you wouldn't have seen what I did before. This is the Atlassian reference. So, all right, I like this definition of DevOps. So I'll paste it into. All right. I am a 37-year-old engineer from Melbourne, Australia, and I work as a senior DevOps engineer. I had a lot of trouble getting into at first as a DevOps engineer because I didn't have a coding background. All of the teams I joined had developers that were all at a very senior level, and I was expected to perform the same as them. What else can we cover in this? I want to discuss my challenges with people in the open source community who might be new to the industry and those who are looking to become a DevOps engineer. What else do I want? I want to go over a roadmap of the kinds of things that would be required to know if you were working with AWS, Golang. What else have we got? EC2, S3, RDS, and the AWS SDK. Our code is written, is managed in GitHub. Our projects are managed from Jira. Write a detailed article about this with title. So this is just a quick way. I would give a lot more thought and information. It's basically just a blob of everything I would want in the blog, and then I can get GPT-4 can sort of give me an iteration, I guess, on what I've dumped in there, and I can go from there. I don't like to just blindly copy and paste what GPT-4 gives me. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. I'll show you the entire process because that way you can repeat it. It's not really just my process. This would be cool because you guys might have different thoughts. The reason I do a lot of this is because I have so many ideas in my head, and the things that I think I can't necessarily communicate. And I know that blogs are a great way to communicate this. So if I can get all of that information in one place and then get an article out of it, then yeah, it's a really good way to help others in the community. I don't have to do a lot of this writing, but I can go and extend this. Like this is quite a short paragraph here. I could ask ChatGPT to extend it, but I might want to extend it myself. So I can think, hey, hold on, there's a bit more to DevOps than just this. So I'd be like, well, can you explain what continuous integration is? Can you explain what continuous deployment is? Because yeah, it's great to say those words, but wait. I need them to be able to understand what CI is and how it would apply to their job. So now, actually, I think it might be writing an entire article about this, but we'll see where it goes. But that way, instead of just writing, anyone that probably just wants to rush this would copy and paste this into a new thing, and you can just clean this up how you want. I try to get rid of as much of the obvious signs of ChatGPT. Like as you use this more and more, you can really notice what they are. Actually, I'll show you the whole process. Stuff it. Let's post this as a blog. All right. This is Grammarly as well. I don't just blindly trust this, but I know that ChatGPT will generate a lot of unnecessary stuff. That I didn't plan to do this as part of my workflow, but I found Grammarly is very oh, yeah, that'll do. I like to bold these up. Like I generally wouldn't just rush it this quickly. Like I'm speed running a blog here, so please don't just assume that this is all I do for my blogs. I actually put in a lot of effort into some of them. Of course, it recommends things like Jenkins. That's just a sign of it being the most mainstream. Actually, I won't do them. Stuff it. Yep. So here we go. Let's copy this. Canva's great. I love Canva. YouTube thumbnail. What's our topic again? DevOps. DevOps. Ah, bloody hell. We're not even popular enough. Cool. Let's make this look all right. Make it center. Okay, this might be setting like a record time for the fastest that I've done a blog.
This is actually faster than most Minecraft speedruns, Dean.
Is that? Tell me if it's boring or
Yeah.
anything, but I'll just keep going. But this is actually sort of my process in a fast. Sorry, I'm just gonna. Sorry, I couldn't just leave Jenkins in there. Actually, I shouldn't badmouth Jenkins on this channel. We're a Java channel, aren't we? Jenkins is awesome. And I just pick a bunch of random related words. Software development and what else? GitHub stuff that'll do. And we can publish. And
Dean, if you show this much speed on Medium, then I just cannot imagine what you will do with HashNode Pro.
oh, really?
Because there's a baked-in AI.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. No, but I don't like the. I don't actually. I should try it out before I judge it. But and now I can. Why did I get Twitter blue? Cool. So I can just copy the URL here, go over to EddieHub, and take advantage of being an ambassador, and go here. I've got a new article. Look at it. Look at it.
My 60 days of DevOps took me 7 months, and
yeah. Well,
now
and that you can. This is sort of like fast food blogging. Like if I just kept doing this and doing this, it'd be obvious that I was using AI. If you look at my blog, you'll see that you can tell that I've really thought about a lot of this content. You can see traces of ChatGPT here, like senior DevOps engineer in the title is obviously ChatGPT, but I get the ideas for this for things that I'm doing on a day-to-day. As you can see, I couldn't get a 5-minute read out of something that I just generated in one thread there. And yeah, that's how I do it. I think, did that answer your question, Raul? I think I probably did a bit more than answered it.
Now I have questions.
Sure, go for
it. Yeah, so just feel to interrupt, guys, because I have, ladies and gentlemen, because I have like 10 minutes of questions. I don't know much about ChatGPT, so sorry if I ask them wrong, but not really sorry. So if I understand correctly, ChatGPT it's a machine learning model, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, it's called an LLM, a large language model.
But it's not artificial intelligence, so it doesn't really think. It's a neural network, right?
To be honest, I don't know. It's a neural network. There are people that say that it does.
Next question is, how often does the model get refreshed?
It actually tells you which model it's using. If you see down, I'm not sharing my screen. Well, actually, I don't need to share it to see it, but down the bottom of ChatGPT, when you're using it, it actually tells you the date of the model that you're using.
This is good.
The last one that it was refreshed with was on March 23 this year.
Because like if you ask Rix from HashNode, what is the latest version of Java, it tells you 17. Yeah. Which brings questions because it must be for developers. Anyway.
Well, and the thing is, I don't believe that it understands, like you said, it chooses the wrong versions. It doesn't know what the right and wrong versions are unless you really...
It just was trained with like old data.
Yeah,
I think.
well, Well, with what I was doing before, like generating the prompts, I would tell it that I want to work with these versions of Java. So when it's making suggestions, it knows what version is relevant. And it makes, like, say if it was choosing a library, it would choose the correct library because it knows the version that you're working with. If you never tell it the version, it doesn't know to do that.
So there was a sidewalk. There was a science fiction story which had maybe Isaac Asimov. I'm not sure where people found a machine which can answer any question, but it refused to answer questions because a good question has the most of the answer, a good part of the answer. So I'm thinking
That makes sense.
I'm thinking like in our age, we might see how it becomes more and more important to ask the right questions in the right way from the right models. For example, I'm thinking like, let's say I want to know which positions in British market are over 150K salaries and contribute to open source. So I can like choose which open source project to contribute, but I'm not sure I can ask ChatGPT that way. So I'll need to find a way to ask ChatGPT to help me with my career. So and the question is, do you know any like what would you ask ChatGPT to get help with your career?
Well, yeah, as I showed in the demo before, remember how I had 2 sessions open? What I do if I'm doing something and I don't quite know how to do it is the first window is what I'm using to generate new prompts, and I can iterate on that infinitely. So I don't know if you understand the concept of Auto GPT, but what I'm doing is basically having a manual version of Auto GPT. So if I copy and paste the prompt from window 1 into window 2 and it doesn't quite give me the results that I want, then I know that I can go iterate on that, and I can keep that until I get the result that I want. Like if I follow that process infinitely, there is no way that I'm not going to achieve that goal. Like it might take me forever, but theoretically I should be able to achieve any goal from following that process.
Good. I just googled Auto GPT and it looks amazing because I missed the first half of the stream.
It's recorded on YouTube anyway. So
yeah, I'm going to watch it with some hot chicken. So what is the relationship, the last question, between OpenAI and ChatGPT-4? Because you keep showing this website, OpenAI, and there's a project called OpenAI, and there's ChatGPT-4 as well.
Let me show my screen again. I'll let you select it. Let me know when it's up there and ready. I actually forgot to cover this in my talk, so I'm glad you asked. Am I on?
Yeah.
All right. So OpenAI is a company. That's probably a good place to start. So when people say OpenAI, I know a lot of people just assume that it's open source. It isn't actually entirely open source. They changed that a little while into when the company was operating for pretty obvious reasons. So when I say OpenAI, I'm talking about the company. This here is the platform for developers. This is where I can get my API keys. I can get examples on how to use it, the API reference, and there's also a playground. This is similar to ChatGPT, but it doesn't have all the models. But yeah, I can do a bit more advanced stuff here. So I can play with temperatures, maximum length of output. Top P is another part of the weights. Like if you want more of a random output, you can change how that is. It gets quite technical into how you change that, but there's presets here. So yeah, you can learn a lot more about how it works by playing with this. This is where you can learn about the API, how to use it. There's some official libraries here. You can get a list of the models. I'll go through the documentation here for this one. But yeah, I think someone was mentioning the voice cloning stuff earlier. That's the model here for that. There's a company called 11 Labs. And I don't know if you've seen the voice cloning for, say, Kanye West or Notorious B.I.G., but I'm pretty sure it was done with this. And yeah, that's probably using the Whisper model, which is another OpenAI model. And then you've got DALL-E for the image generation as well. So hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you, it did. Good answer.
Hey, I can see Krish. I had a full screen thing on my screen, so I couldn't quite see it all the time. Oh yeah, voice.ai is also there. Thanks. Oh, really? I need to look at that. I don't remember that thing I was telling you in the Twitter space about my friends who have recording artists that what they want to do. I should talk about it here. I have a friend that say they'll be working on a song together, but they can't get the artist that they want on the track. They can get an artist that's like pretty close to good enough. So what we want to do is we want to clone the artist that we can't get and then use another good artist. So the limitation here is that you actually have to be good at recording music and writing music, but we're going to do like ghost recording and we're going to experiment with that. So we can get our friends that are rappers as well, but we can actually change their voice. So if I'm not available, my friends can rap in my voice and I'll be happy for them to do that because they're actually good enough at doing it. And that's how we're going to be using this voice cloning stuff. Yeah, Valley, that's awesome. So yeah, more questions. Keep them coming.
So, Dean, what you did with the, whole blogging thing where you added your own, entire thing. So, I have been doing something similar. I have basically written a note with the entire history of my life in tech.
Yeah.
All the good things.
Yeah.
All the good things, no bad
I
things.
keep the bad things too. What I actually want to do, I've been capturing and recording data on myself since about 2008, and I'm going to ingest it into a vector database. So I've got the ultimate clone of me, not just one window of a context. It's going to be my entire personality.
A funny thing is that the time frame you're saying is more than my age.
Oh wow, that's I predicted that this is what I was going to need back then before I even knew what AI was going to be.
And I use the same thing for generating, a lot of things like applications, just the boring stuff, applications. And it has been working out pretty well till now. I mean, I have not received results for it, so I'm only gonna know whether I'm rejected or accepted after I get the results. But I think it's
You'll
a
be
pretty nice
fine.
idea to clone yourself.
Sorry, I just lost it. I've been experimenting with something. Yeah, actually, that's right. I've been experimenting with getting it to help me write a pseudocode language that I then use with it to build applications so it doesn't make mistakes in code as often. It's a way I've found that I can get really consistent results out. So, you know how you said you got it to build an app for you and it was really buggy and it didn't work? I've actually built successful apps using ChatGPT.
One thing I find interesting about, me writing code with ChatGPT is that with ChatGPT you have to use, you have to explain it too much.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I'm gonna explain that much, then it's less lines of JavaScript for me to write that code myself than explain it to ChatGPT.
I think there's a plugin coming that's going to be able to do this sort of stuff, and I can't wait to get access to plugins. But it'd be cool if it had your entire history like as context, so it could just always be improving, and it would know think like you said, you just had to explain everything to it. There'd be so much that it would just assume because it already has that knowledge. And you should be able to turn that on and off, I think, because you wouldn't always want it to have that knowledge of you. But it'd be cool if it just automatically knew your chat history in a new session. Yeah. Has anyone got any more questions?
I made some notes of previous questions. Maybe if someone will have more questions, please feel free to ask. Right. Let me start to go to my records. Yeah. I don't know if it's really relevant to the topic, but someone asked if Restream is open source.
What was that? Sorry, is
Restream tool is a tool we are using for
okay,
streaming.
cool.
Yes.
I don't know actually. I don't know much about Restream. It's just
Yeah. So I was the person who asked this question, and I found out that
yeah,
it is
yeah.
not open source.
Thank you.
no, that's all right.
Cool. Then I believe, yeah, I believe Krish asked you about in table GPT format, but I believe we already discussed it, right? We had a hands-on for it. Then, yeah, I believe we discussed is it free to use GPT via chat OpenAI.com?
No, it costs money. I'm a subscriber for ChatGPT Plus. I use it so much that it's worth it for me. You can use like I showed this one is free. You don't need an account. It's actually sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. Hugging Chat is an alternative that you can use if you don't have an account. It's not quite as good as say GPT-4. But there's a model called Vicuna. I think it was Berkeley University that made it. I actually contributed to their repository. I fixed a typo, but I get their name on my profile, and I got to take a screenshot with me being one of the contributors for that, even though I did nothing, which they're awesome for allowing me to do that. But yeah, that thing is, they say it's 90% as good as GPT-4. You can run it locally as well, but you really need powerful hardware. Like my system isn't quite good enough for it.
Thank you. I don't know. Well, another question was like, could you cover some use cases beyond the use of conversational uses of ChatGPT? I believe you covered a lot of cases, but I don't know if it's question still actual. Up to you.
Well, there's plenty of other use cases. There's actually one that I should talk about. I've got a friend that I used to serve in the military with, and like he's an awesome guy, but he's as rough as they come. Like he used to be a bikie as well, and he gets really angry easily. Like, and what he's found is that it's helped him in his business a lot because he can get an email that would have sort of upset him in the past, but he now pastes it into ChatGPT and he gets it to sort of de-angry it in a way. So he is able to communicate effectively. Actually, that is a conversational thing, but I guess he's not just having a conversation with ChatGPT. He's using ChatGPT to help him have a conversation with someone else. And I know, as we've spoken, this has actually helped him grow his business a lot. Like he runs a business with his wife, and he's told me that they've been really successful since using this. And because we're friends, he's taken some of the way that I do things, and because I've been able to teach him, he's using it way more effectively now.
Thank you. Real great example.
I have another question, Dean. Do you use the Brave browser?
No, not at all. I would, but I don't understand why. I use Chrome. I've always just used Google Chrome.
Chrome.
Yeah, I'm a Chrome
Uh,
user since 2008.
yeah, so now comes the next question. Being an AI prompt engineering specialist, why do you not use a browser that has AI integrated into it, like Edge,
I,
Microsoft Edge,
I love Microsoft Edge, but for some reason I just always end up back on Chrome.
or Opera, or Vivaldi?
Yeah, I don't know. I have tried other browsers. Actually, when I was sharing my screen earlier, I don't know if you saw my start menu, but I used to have Edge on my taskbar because I was trying to get myself to use Edge, but for some reason I just always end up back in Chrome. There's something about Chrome that as harsh. I've got too much of a personal attachment to Chrome.
I think probably, a lot of people have great attachment to Chrome because it has been, since their
Yeah.
childhood.
Actually, the other thing
And
is when Chrome came to me, I only had Internet Explorer 8, and I know it's a huge leap compared to what came before it, but Chrome made the world so much better for us compared to what was before it. Whereas anything that would be replacing Chrome is just like a different version of Chrome. Like Edge isn't a game changer from Chrome. Like if I want to process something with AI, I just copy and paste it in there. I don't need everything that I'm doing to be processed by AI.
no, so the interesting thing comes in here. So Edge brought in the Bing sidebar, right? So you can open that and you can ask questions based on the data you have.
Yeah.
So it's exactly what you were, doing with the Pinecone DB thing. You can do that yourself pretty easily.
Oh, really? I might have to get you to show me
Yeah.
that if you can, because yeah, if I don't have to use Pinecone, then what's Microsoft got for that? That would be cool.
Yeah, so it's like if you have, a PDF file. I'm sure that you have something
Yeah.
like a PDF file or something
Actually,
that has all the data.
I have a tool. There's I shared it in EddieHub, I think, but there's a repository that sort of has it's awesome ChatGPT or something, and there's a open source project that shows you how to use a PDF file as your sort of data ingestion. So you can have a huge PDF file and you're going to be able to query it as if it knew it. Is that sort of what you're describing, Chris?
Yeah, so you can do that with just one click, and it's not just limited to PDF
Oh,
files.
I might
You
have
can do that with any
to get
any
you to
web
show
page,
me how you're doing this.
any video, and anything. It's
'Cause
actually pretty
It,
simple,
it sounds like it's bypassing the limitations for us. Is that what it's doing?
Yes, because it was already on GPT-4 since day one,
Nice.
right?
So I don't have to do the hard work that I'm doing if I have this.
No.
Nice. I'll have
Yeah.
to
So
experiment with
you
this.
Right. So when you just, open Edge, I'm not on Windows right now, I'm on Linux. So when you open Edge, you just go click on the, right Bing icon, the flashy
Edge
icon.
is on Linux, you know.
Yeah, but for some reason there is a bug, so it's not working on Fedora
yeah.
right now.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I
Yeah,
do
I
have,
can't wait to
Windows
see
side
that.
loaded. So
Yeah. No,
so when you
we'll have if you're keen, you should jump on one of these sessions and we'll do it together. It'll be fun.
Okay, some other questions. One of friends of mine asked, just mentioned that there is limitation for 25 messages in 3 hours. I'm not sure what he means. Is it about GPT?
Yeah. This is for GPT-4, and
Mhm.
it's quite annoying. If you've used up your messages, you have to wait until it rolls over. I guess you could circumvent this by having multiple accounts if you wanted, but I guess It's quite generous. I rarely go over that use case, like that amount. Like within a 3-hour window, I might use, say, 10 queries or 15, but it's very rare that I actually go over 25. An easy way to go over that amount is if you're coding with it and getting it to help you debug.
Mhm.
It's annoying if you get like nearly all the way there and then you run out and you're like, thanks. Like now I have to wait and then come back. But it is very good at keeping up to where you were. So it just becomes obvious when you have to wait every couple of hours. Your boss is like, "Why can't you code without ChatGPT?" What?
I have a
Yeah.
question. Oh, Mikola, did you want to ask something?
No, go on, go on. It's okay.
So in the beginning, when I watched something, you mentioned in old companies which have legacy projects and you can push them into ChatGPT model to get some answers. In this case, there is a danger of getting private stuff out, or is there?
There is and there isn't. It
Okay.
depends if you trust OpenAI or not. I just sort of assume they follow the same rules as Microsoft. So if I'm willing to use Microsoft Azure, then I should be willing to use OpenAI. But they were collecting your data at first. I know Samsung had a lot of issues with this where some of their private stuff was leaked onto there. But now it's to the point where they don't want our data. You actually have to opt in if you want your data to be used. So yeah, I've never had a problem with it. This is where classifying your information is probably important if you're running a company. And also, like I described in the demo, if you were using it as a middleware, you could sort of capture anything you were concerned about going out, like if there were keywords or not, then you could flag information that way.
Yeah, good points. Thank you.
We discussed was yeah, I don't know what's it's exactly about, but someone mentioned that ChatGPT does favor a PGK stack for monitoring. Not sure what does it mean, but
I'm not familiar with the PGK stack actually. Hold on, let me Google it. No, it's not. What is the PGK stack? I'm not familiar with it. If I'm not familiar with it, I wouldn't be surprised that ChatGPT is not familiar with it. Well, based on the way it's trained, it's like the more data, the better. Because really, if you think about it, what it's doing is each character you see is not just a character, it's a token. Prometheus. If you wanted it to do Prometheus, Grafana, and Kibana, you wouldn't ask it as a PGK stack. You would sort of query it with each tool independently. It doesn't chain things together too well unless you really strictly control things around it, which unfortunately means you really have to understand the technology to leverage it the most. So it's actually less helpful for the people that need it the most. So when you mention the PGK stack, because I'm experienced with Prometheus and StatsD and CollectD, I'm familiar with Grafana. I've used all these tools before, so I know what information to feed into ChatGPT to get the best results out, which unfortunately someone new to the stack won't know what questions to ask. And that's probably why you're not getting the results that you want. I'd be more than happy to help you with it too. So feel free to reach out and I can help you.
thank you. One more question. It's more like a general question. If you have an idea, I note some honestly was a little bit too lazy to go deep in the process, but I noticed that some people said it's really great to use ChatGPT in combination with other tools like
Yeah, definitely. And it depends how much you want to automate things. Like, sorry about that. You'll hear and see people getting really hyped about Auto GPT, saying, "Oh, it's going to change the way that everything works." You can do everything that can do within the normal constraints of ChatGPT. It just won't do it automatically. A thing that a lot of these people aren't thinking about is they have to pay for the usage of that. So it's going to be way more efficient to just do the things manually. Like if you need multiple layers, you just have multiple windows open, and you can still do the same things. You just copy things between your notepad and your clipboard rather than having it all automated with code.
thanks a lot. Yeah, just quick note. I don't know if it's very helpful, but to be honest, I have the feeling that I don't know if you already know about it, but maybe it's someone already is writing such books like GPT, ChatGPT Cookbook and ChatGPT Cookbook Ecosystem. But I think it's a really good time for such books.
Oh yeah, OpenAI actually have a repository on GitHub. Let me paste it in the chat. OpenAI, it is called the OpenAI Cookbook, and as you can imagine, it's like every other programming cookbook. It has all the awesome stuff you'd want. So basically, instead of in the time that you could have, well, in the time you spent watching me just ramble on about this stuff, you probably could have been going through the cookbook and just playing around with this stuff yourself. Yeah, Nikita just sent it in the chat there. So yeah, definitely have a look at that repository. It's one of my favorites.
Great. I want to thank you a lot for this meeting today. It was really great, and actually, to be honest, I was a little bit busy with some administration stuff, so I must to review once again the record of this meeting. But to be honest, I am paying for like advanced ChatGPT package, but just today I finally decided to switch it to GPT-4 because of your meeting.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Well, what's annoying is I find it hard to go back after using GPT-4. Like I just find the results I get out of it are so much better than anything else. It almost feels like it knows me in a way, and like the results I get, I know it's stupid and it's not the way it works, but it feels like if it likes you, it will give you good results, and if it doesn't like you, it won't give you good results. It's bizarre.
Yeah, thanks a lot. If anyone want to ask some final comments, complaints, ideas, propositions, you have a chance to.
Proposition to restream that you could click a button and the stuff will go to the voice AI and it will create a mind map of the whole talk from Dean. That would be really cool.
Yeah, that is cool actually.
Like meeting minutes. I think Microsoft did something like that for Teams, but I'm not sure that they're creating like meeting minutes on the
Bing
fly.
AI can actually do this.
But yeah, we'll appreciate it if you will do it. Maybe you could share it in Twitter if you don't mind, so we could retweet your notes. But actually, talking about open source, I think it sounds like a great idea for a fine project to make to take meeting minutes from meetings.
And the coolest thing about AI as well is that everything I've been working on could be obsolete next week. And I don't even have a problem with that. I think that's cool.
And to close,
I think there are
yeah, please go on.
I think there are tools that actually do this, what Nikita mentioned. So there is, this tool called Fireflies, which can take notes for your, team meets like Google Meets and Zoom Meets. And for these things like, YouTube live streams, you can just open the transcript or the caption section and then let Bing AI create a whole mind map for it.
I know I saw this on YK Dojo's Twitter. a little while ago, but he's got access to ChatGPT plugins, the developer side, and he's working on a plugin that you paste in a YouTube URL and it gives you the full transcript of it as well as summaries and everything.
And there are like so many AIs that are being built on the GPT-4 thing, so you can just search for YouTube on Google Chrome extensions, and you'll find so many of these. One of them is Glass, by the way, and Liner also does this.
Yeah, I need to go exploring that. Sorry, I just talked over you too.
No, it's okay. It's funny. My personal observation. Like before, in old times, everyone was thinking like a developer, a programmer is more like math or like logical thinking. But now it's funny. Maybe not completely, but at least for big degree, it's a work of programmer. It's not only about like algorithms or technology. It's more about like you really, if you want to be a good programmer, you must to be able to clearly state your thoughts, at least to clearly generate a question.
I'm quite new to programming compared to like most of the people that I'm involved with, because coming into DevOps from a non-DevOps background meant that I was thrown straight in with like senior development teams. And I've only actually been coding since like 2019. Like before that, it was all just more on the IT side.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you.
Okay, thanks all, Dean. Thanks really for great session, and thanks everyone for being here, for asking questions, sharing your opinions, and hopefully we could meet next Sunday.
Sounds good. And yeah, thank you to Krish for dropping by. Good to see all of you. Harsh, Nikita, and Nikita too as well.
I'm really sorry for this confusion. It's first time I was substituting Nikita, and because of my fault we had two Nikitas. I'm sorry for this.
Fine. I think it was all right. I'll watch it back to see how it went, because I've got to criticize myself and see if I did a good job speaking or not. But I'm sure it went okay.
Dean, get ChatGPT to give you tips on how to improve.
Cool. Actually, yeah, that's a good idea. I can use Bing to transcribe it for me.
Bing cannot do transcription. It's not multi-modal yet. You have to, open the captions thing, because YouTube does captions.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, thanks a lot for my time zone. It's almost evening, so have a great rest of the Sunday. Have a great working week. Hopefully see you soon.
All right. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the session.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
See ya.
Дякую. До побачення. Bye.
And stream. So I suppose to press